Meanwhile, at the Spider Society headquarters, two alternate Spider-Men meet before the chaos ensues.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I heard like they want everyone to go up to convince Miles Morales to not like destroy the universe. I don't feel like it.
Hopefully it goes well. I'm so tired. Hi, by the way, I'm Daddy Longlegs. I'm the middle-aged gay Spider-Man who never left Manhattan. I live in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah, I'm a spider dude. I'm from a universe that's eternally an 80s movie. And I just like to, shoot my webs on the Pacific, man, and just ride the waves. Yeah.
Yeah. This is my 8th iced coffee. I can't live without it.
Well, right, man. I'm actually totally blazed right now. I gotta smoke pot because, my Uncle Ben, my death, that kind of made me the spider dude that I am. Fucking Gwen Stacy, my girlfriend, she was like, I was like, hey, let's ride some waves. She's like, all right, but I'm all the way in Echo Park. So then she was like, all right, no problem. I'm going to take the 101. I'm probably going to take it down to the 110. And then I'm going to take the 110. I was like, why are you taking the 110? And then she went and took it down to the 10 and then took it all the way west, took the 405 down and then went to the 105. And then finally she got off and then a hobo spit in her face and she died of dysentery. It was really hard.
Oh man, I know that someone that happened to. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go to
Venice. My big loss is it was my partner. We were together for a really long time, and
oh no, did he?
One day he just wasn't there anymore.
My world's totally from the 80s, so I have a big assumption of what happened.
Oh, you mean AIDS?
Yeah.
No. He's healthy. He just lives in Midtown East, and I'm not going there.
Oh yeah, no, fuck that man. Yeah. Oh shit, look, there's Miles. He's like, are we supposed to chase
I don't
him?
want to do anything.
I don't fucking want
I'm
to
so
do
tired.
it.
It's so exhausting living in New York and being this old and gay. Do you know that?
I'll let you jerk me off.
Can I suck it?
Yeah, why not? We're all spiders.
All right. Spider dude. You're awesome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 263 of CBQ Legacy. That's Comic Book Queers. I'm here. I'm your host, Evil Jeff, and I'm here with another queer, Brett.
Hi, it's me, Brett.
Good Brett.
Good Brett. Remember when that AI wrote a biography about us and called me Brett White? What a great name. That I should have been that. What a great foil to Evil Jeff. It's like, but it would be like Good Brett, which is so samey. It's so matchy. But like Brett White,
Brett
says
White
the same thing, but says it in a different way.
Yeah.
Should we do that? There's probably somebody named Brett White. I think there is, like a comics journo or writer or something.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, God. Nothing's original anymore.
Nothing's
except for a certain movie that we'll talk about despite it being a sequel.
Yes.
But first we have some hot topics to discuss.
Yes. Why don't we hit the hot topics? Music, please. We got some hot topics. Yeah.
Ooh.
There is a big hot topics in the Marvel universe. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, it's not so much hot as it is cold, dead cold. That's because
dead.
Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, has died in the latest Amazing Spider-Man.
How did she die?
I'm not sure. I didn't read it. I have it. I didn't read it yet, but I know it's part of this whole story of like the whole, like, why did Peter and Mary Jane break up? It was this villain from like an earlier arc who like invoked this god and he wants to be the god. And so he has to sacrifice shit. It's all very involved. In fact, I think it's getting poor reviews. However, to get better reviews, they introduced a character death, and that character, unfortunately, or fortunately, as you and I may get to, is Ms. Marvel.
Kamala Khan.
So this is definitely for a lot of people are saying fridging. And for those of you who don't know, fridging means killing off a female character so the male character has something to do and some motivation to like do the big thing, which is cheap.
The only plus is it's usually the person's love interest.
Which you're a proponent of getting rid of.
And usually they're pregnant too. So I don't know. They're trying to do it. They're trying to make it a little bit different. They're like, instead of it being her girlfriend, what if it's a little girl of color?
What if it, right.
But for that, you can say fridging, but guess what? She's not going to be. They're not going to murder off a character forever that has a movie coming out in November. Like,
I think it's more about her than it is about Spider-Man.
Exactly. I don't think it's fridging when the character, we all know the character is going to come back alive. So,
and we all know the character is going to come back as a mutant, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm assuming, that she's going to be dead. They're going to think that we can't do anything, and then who's going to show up? But Emma Frost. Emma Frost is going to show up and she's like, hey, we got a little ding on Cerebro. And they're like, what? And it's like, it turns out when Kamala Khan went into the Terrigen Mist, she was never an Inhuman in the first place. It just sparked her mutant gift.
Instead of killing her for some reason that we'll explain.
Along. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, but not even like they resurrected Steve Rogers that one time.
But they previously put his memories so that they could resurrect him. Like
they did it manually. They did it manually.
Yeah, they had to download his whole memories. So that's clearly what's going to happen. So we'll see if we're wrong. I mean,
it's clearly they already gave her the X-Men theme stinger when they said her genes were mutated in her TV show.
Yeah, and everybody knows the Inhumans was a bust. She was kind of the only character when they decided to have the Inhumans take over the X-Men and just get rid of the X-Men. Whose idea was that again? He's gone, right? That evil. I think he's the biggest villain of all. The person who was in charge of Marvel at the time that was doing all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
She's the only one that's left. No one gives a shit about a single other Inhuman.
Not really. God, I can't, like the days when they were getting such a push at the cost of the X-Men. It was just, there were so many names that I didn't care about and like never knew who they were and couldn't picture them and knew that they had no potential because nobody cared.
Yeah.
The theme of everything lately is just give us the fucking X-Men.
Yeah. I don't get it. Everyone's like, wow, everything's horrible. Can't wait till those X-Men show up. How about you do that now then? How about now? What are you waiting for? Oh, but we have like 6 other crappy movies we have to put out first, and then maybe we'll think about the X-Men. Okay.
Here's my thing about the Ms. Marvel story. I mean, if we are going to make her resurrection an event, I can see it happening in a Spider-Man book, but I wish that Ms. Marvel's death happened in a Ms. Marvel book.
Yeah,
or like a cross-wide event. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where like the fridge, like the whiffs.
But she doesn't even have her own book right now.
It's like somebody opened an old box of Arm & Hammer baking soda in front of me. I was like, ooh, that smells like fridge.
Shut the fuck up.
Did somebody open some Arm & Hammer? Because I smell fridging.
Oh my God.
Do you put baking soda in your refrigerator?
I do not. Because if anything starts to smell, I throw it out. That's kind of the rule I have.
Even the smallest smell lingers.
And once a month I like scrub down the inside of my
once a month. Who are you fooling? Girl, you're telling stories that aren't true.
All right, maybe every 2 months. But I do it a lot. I do it. Because every time there's something like there's a little spill or something sticky, if I smell something, like I'll tell you this here just to talk about
I think something.
That is my mutant powers. I have
smell something.
I have a very strong sense of smell. I had to buy for this. I'm working on a new show for World of Wonder, and I had to buy a blow-up doll. And I'm telling you, the vinyl plastic smell of this blow-up doll the whole house smells like it and it's driving me crazy. And no one else can smell it. And I'm like, I could smell that blow up doll all the way in the other room. And Joe's like, I don't smell anything. And I'm like, well,
What?
I'm a mutant.
Oh my God.
I'm a bloodhound. Bloodhound. That's my
I'm a blood.
that's my mutant name. Poonhound. Cockhound. No, I don't know.
Oh, Pooncockhound. It's Pooncockhound. We're saved.
Oh my God. Are there any other hot topics?
I just was flipping through, just to add late breaking news. I just flipped through Spider-Man and saw how Ms. Marvel died. She died. The whole point of the bad guy was he has to kill Mary Jane. So she shapeshifts into Mary Jane to make the villain think that he killed Mary Jane. So it all end.
Wait, she can fully shapeshift?
Oh my God. Knowledge drop. Yes, girl.
I didn't realize she could fully shapeshift. I thought she could just like change like she could change.
She can fully she can move her skin so that she looks like another person.
Oh, that was an original
And
power,
her
though.
muscles.
That's more of a recent.
I feel like it was because that was remember when Secret Wars was a thing? Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars? In whatever book she was in, she was shape-shifting. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She did that.
All right.
She did it, and she did it to save Mary Jane and Spider-Man and the planet. Wait, she did it to save Mary Jane, and then do they get divorced anyway?
Wait a minute. So is the whole time when Mary Jane was mad at Peter Parker, Ms. Marvel was already dead?
Oh no, they jumped back into the present. Sorry, this did not take place in this part of the story is the present day.
Oh,
it is not the flashbacks of what happened.
Oh, okay. So they were already mad at each other before Ms. Marvel died?
And yeah, and then they showed you they've been mad at each other for months and months and months and months.
Jesus Christ.
And this story was like, do you finally want to know why they're mad at each other and they're not together anymore? And she's got like some other kid and husband? Here you go. Flashbacks.
Wait, but you're saying Ms. Marvel did not die in the flashback, or she did die in the flashback?
She died in the present day. She's dead, like fresh dead.
Okay.
Yeah. The part of the story where she dies is like, and now in the present day, having caught you up.
Okay. So when she had to save Mary Jane is already married to some other dude?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or something.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
but that's straight hetero nonsense.
How about we get into something, I don't want to say it's necessarily gay, but I'm a faggot and I loved it.
Well, I mean, it's got two lesbians. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were moving on to Captain Britain. My bad.
No,
we're not, are we?
You're the one who told me you wanted to talk about the movie first.
Yep, it was my idea.
Lesbians!
Do we want to talk about... You say it.
Across the Spider-Verse, hit the music. I always feel like I'm watching a comic movie or TV. Went across.
So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is about two lesbians who traverse the Spider-Verse together, hand in hand.
I will tell you this. Isn't it weird how it's like we have the home... There's the home Spider-Man trilogy, and then there is the Spider-Verse Spider-Man trilogy. And in the end, both of them end up relying on cross-dimensional versions of Spider-Man.
Cross-dimensional versions of Spider-Man. That seems to be the thing.
And then we're going to get a Flash movie. And then we're going to get a Flash movie that is across multiversal versions of the Flash.
Cross dimensions.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You'd think like we would hate this then. It's like a rehash. But let's do a 1, 2, 3 of what we thought. 1, 2, 3. Loved it. It's so good. I mean, first of all,
it was incredible.
Into the Spider-Verse won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. This one I feel could easily take home the prize.
Easily.
The animation is so beautiful.
It's the best animation ever put on screen,
the
period.
Storyboarding, the art direction is so smart, so
did
amazing.
Joe like it?
Of course. He was like,
Joe, your storyboard centric
yes,
boyfriend.
no, he like poked me. After like 5 minutes, he's like, this is like the best movie ever. I was like,
It really is.
And then, but not to get to that, but it's the longest American animated movie
Really?
ever made.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
And I
long.
tell you, it goes by fast
And you want to know why it goes by fast? The thing that
because it literally goes by fast.
But
Like,
the thing
it's
that
a
I'm complaining
rapid-
about is there's tons and tons of action, but they break it up with all of these poignant character, like all of this character development that
Yeah.
so many other movies just like ignore because they just want to get to the action. Not
The
realizing
villain-
is that when you get the character development, the stakes are higher and you are 10 times more invested into the action.
I seem to remember, so the villain is the Spot. I seem to remember isn't the Miles fight with the Spot? So major spoilers, everybody. If you have not seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, turn back now. I will just say best animation ever put on screen, possibly best Spider-Man movie ever made. Okay, now go see it. Okay. The Spot, he has the fight before when he's supposed to be at the interview for college or whatever.
Yes.
And then there's that grounded family relationship scene. And then doesn't the fight pick back up?
Yeah.
For like as long as it was the first time? Like
Yes.
it's a fight with a family intermission.
No, but then it's family
incredible.
intermission. But then the second fight is him and his dad,
Yes.
which then leads to him as Spider-Man talking to his dad about him, but the dad does not know he's talking to his son. He thinks he's talking to Spider-Man. And I
that
think
voice that Shameik Moore does when I'm the Spider-Man who's not supposed to know
Oh,
that
yeah,
it's
it's
his
so
son.
fucking funny.
The voice is so funny.
and his dad is Brian Tyree Henry is his dad?
Brian Tyree Henry.
Is
Yep.
so he's amazing. And the thing is Spider-Man, it's always one of the main things with Spider-Man's. It's like, do I need to keep my identity secret? He's one of the main superheroes that's one of the biggest dilemmas. I think
Yeah.
Batman and Spider-Man are the two we need to hide who we are.
Yes.
And they just really brought home of how torn up he is about he doesn't want to disappoint them, but he also doesn't want to lie to them. It's just it's very sweet. And also, Jason Schwartzman plays the Spot.
as the Spot.
Great. As soon as I heard his
So
voice, I
funny.
was like, oh, it's Jason
Immediately.
Schwartzman.
Yep.
But of course, he was in the first one, not his voice.
Yes.
But in the first Spider-Man, when they are battling Doc Ock and trying to escape, he throws a bagel and hits the guy in the face with a bagel, and it turns out that is the Spot.
It's
Brilliant.
so good.
It's
It is
so
such good
smart.
trilogying because they're not inventing this whole new thing for the second movie. They're pulling a story thread. They're pulling a detail through.
Yeah.
And that character had relationships to Doc Ock and the villains of the first one. They made it clear that he wasn't just guy who got hit by bagel, but he helped build the Collider himself, the
Yeah.
Kingpin's Collider. Like he was integral in building it. And so then that's how he got his powers when Miles blew up that room in the first one.
And the thing that makes him want to turn into a big bad villain is Spider-Man just keeps quipping and joking with him, like, you're just the villain of the week, da, 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 quip, quip, quip. And the signature quip and comedy and snarkiness of Spider-Man is actually what motivates the
It
villain. to become the
backfires,
villain.
right. And so much of this movie is about Miles not fitting into the Spider-Man mold. In fact, that is ultimately what this movie is about.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, like, it was for me like a moment where you've got this character in Oscar Isaac's Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, who leads this multiversal, very low-key, multiversal correction organization to make sure canon events, things that have to happen in every Spider-Man's life, happen. Otherwise, that universe unravels.
And that's the other great thing is this movie does not start off with Miles Morales. It actually starts off with Gwen Stacy.
Speaking of a Spider-Man story, yes.
And her whole time of how she doesn't want to tell her dad because her dad is the captain in the police. And in this world, Peter Parker wants to have powers because he's not bitten. Gwen Stacy is the one that was bitten, and so he actually becomes the lizard? What's that character?
Lizard.
The lizard. And then ends up getting killed, and that's her Uncle Ben. And we'll get to that later. That every Spider-Man has an Uncle Ben character that dies,
which Aaron does.
Yeah.
Aaron's got Uncle Aaron Davis, and we'll talk about what they did with him, by the way, the Prowler who died in the first one. But another thing that Spider-Man has in his life is the beloved police captain dying. That's another canon event in Spider-Man's life. It's Captain Gwen Stacy in our universe.
Yeah.
And so Miles realizes his dad is up for promotion to captain in a few days, and therefore he kind of has a vision of the Spot killing his dad, knowing that his next canon event, the next spider tragedy that's inevitable in every Spider-Man's life, is about to happen. And he's going to prevent it, which leads to this moment that I was like talking about earlier, which is telling the Black Latino Spider-Man, you are not one of us. You do not fit. Not every, but so many stories that I've heard from people with mixed race experiences and parents from different ethnicities or different races.
Yes.
A theme that comes up is the idea of belonging and like having one foot in one community, one foot in the other, and never truly feeling like a part of that community.
Each community is like, you're not fully ours.
You're not this enough or you're not that enough. Exactly. Like I've heard that from people who have that lived experience. And it really struck me when Miguel O'Hara was like, you are a mistake. You do not belong here. You're not one of us. You don't fit the mold. That I thought this movie is so fucking powerful. They've elevated the theme to this.
I have a sidebar question about all the deaths and stuff, how every Spider-Man has a death. I was about to say Tom Holland Spider-Man, Aunt May seems like that would be for him. However,
for sure.
How did Uncle Ben die for Tom Holland? Because his Spider-Man starts later after he's already Spider-Man.
Honestly, I'm convinced.
Do we know?
I'm convinced that Uncle Ben and Aunt May split up.
Yeah, so he never died. So it's like, I'd love how, and there is someone brings up, they bring it up. Oh, you're Miles. He caused all this. And I don't even want to get started on the whole Doctor Strange and that Spider-Man.
Oh, the Spider-Man of Earth 1999.
They bring up,
like that.
What is it?
Tom Holland and No Way Home.
No Way Home. They bring up No Way Home as part of all of this, which I'm like, thank you for tying it all in a neat little bow. That's exactly what I want. You just need one
and
line
for
to
not calling it 616 like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness did.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we also get introduced not only to Iser Ass-Kick is what I was about to say.
I love Iser Ass-Kick in Non-Might.
Oscar Isaac. We also get Jessica Drew.
I mean, come on.
Jessica Drew, but it's
I knew Issa Rae's Jessica Drew was coming. I did not know she was going to be pregnant.
Pregnant Issa Rae on a fucking motorcycle as Jessica Drew. I'm here for it. I loved it.
What an amazing presence that character was. This, like, how are you going to be threatening?
Who is the
threatening
daddy?
And who is the daddy in the book?
Does Jessica Drew have a kid in the comic book?
That's the whole thing with Jessica Drew now, is that she's a mother and that she was pregnant in her solo book.
Oh, I didn't read any of that.
Yeah, that's why it was so cool that she was pregnant. I don't know. I just said I don't know.
Well, I mean, God damn it, you should know these things. I don't know anything.
But when they were like she's pregnant, I was like, oh my God! Like they brought that Jessica Drew piece in. That's so great. And she was threatening and yet like maternal and wonderful. Like you're terrified of her, but you also are like so happy she's there. Great character. I don't know his name, but he's the guy that played the cab driver in the Deadpool movies.
Karan Sony. I don't know how to pronounce.
Yes. Okay. He as the Spider-Man of India was so great. Like just his like, aw shucks, I'm just like perfectly coasting through life. That character was so much fun.
Which I know that character's in the current Spider-Verse, like it's an existing character, but apparently it's a huge comic, just solo comic in India. as well.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, I saw it with my one friend who is Indian, and he was telling me, he's like, oh, it's a huge, he's like, that character is huge in India. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Naveen?
Yes, Naveen. Oh, right, Naveen.
I love
like
Naveen.
You don't like you don't know who that is. Yes, you know who Naveen is. Yes. That character is great. And that's an interesting thing is his event is happening during all of this.
Yes,
His
and
canon
Miles prevents his canon event, which is, again, the death of the captain of police closest to Spider-Man.
Yes. It is funny, though, if you do step back, is because as we're saying here, the whole Spider-Verse is held together by Spider-Man and the fact that these things happen to him. So I do think it is funny that it is like our universe is held together by the fact that Gwen Stacy has to die. Like, it's a very weird.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
or
weird.
somebody in that relationship. Yeah. It's tragic, and it actually makes me think back to WandaVision and the whole idea of Nexus events and like certain things, you know, have to happen and all of that. And it just makes me, I don't know, I feel like I can't believe I'm going to pick a flaw at WandaVision, but Spider-Verse makes that idea of that pivotal event so much more clear a little than WandaVision did.
Yeah.
Like I always was a little bit blurry on Nexus events watching WandaVision. I was like, I think, you know, I think I understand, but I wish there was a way of kind of delivering that with more punch and clarity.
Yeah.
And Spider-Verse does that. But it's so great because they're able to do it because we know so much about Spider-Man. We've seen him so many fucking times that everyone is like, yeah, we know all the things that have to happen to Spider-Man. So we're into this story.
Did we also talk about Spider-Punk, Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk yet?
Can we just first let's set the context that he's part of Spider-Man 2099 Spider Society, which are alternate Spider-Mans and Spider-Peoples who, when there is an anomaly like Miles, they have to do something to correct it, or like they have to make sure these events happen.
Spot, his character, he could just make holes and kind of go through the holes in his body and make them. But it turns out those holes can actually go to other dimensions. So he's now in
Yes. So it's the urgency has been raised for the Spider Society trying to keep all the Spider-Man things that are supposed to happen happening. And so that brings us to one of the members, Spider-Punk.
He's so great. Such a great character.
And the
way he's drawn is so great.
He's drawn like a zine.
Yeah.
Or an old like punk show poster.
Yeah.
I read that his different body parts were animated at different frame rates to make him just like look chaotic and always changeable. And then I read somewhere that the reason he looks like he does and he keeps kind of changing what he looks like animation wise is because he hates conformity.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's so great. And yes, it's Daniel Kaluuya, which he is perfect.
And Gwen Stacy is kind of like, she's like working in the Spider Society with him. So
she's recruited with Jessica Drew.
Miles is getting really jealous. And it's like now that you saw that Gwen Stacy joins the Spider Society, but she spends a long time before she meets up with Miles, and you don't really know why. And you can tell she's like hiding something from him. She's like,
a little cagey.
She's like, there's not a lot of slots for the Spider Society. You can't really join.
Yeah,
but
can't
you
really.
can
Yeah,
see.
they don't really.
And I will tell you, this was so unnerving. The other thing, just visually, what's the most iconic Spider from the original Spider-Man trilogy? What is the most iconic scene with Tobey Maguire?
Oh, the train?
No, Upside Down Kiss.
Uncle Ben?
Upside Down Kiss. They decided to do a whole upside down romantic scene. That was the most, like, I felt
incredible.
A little nauseous because it felt so unnerving.
It was so real.
That because they're spider people and they can attach to the walls, they are sitting upside down on a building, looking at the sunset upside down. It was, and my fear of heights was kicking in. I was like, this is amazing how
it's amazing. Because you really are like, for like the first time ever, you're like, what if they fall? You're just like, it's just because the scene was so delicate and they were they did some like wide shots where it showed them walking around upside down shapes and just like it's like nothing. And you're like, wow, they just like look like spiders right now. And they're just two people walking.
And they just really, the reason this movie's a bit longer is they just spend the time showing that like Gwen and Miles are in love with each other.
Yes.
Like,
and this is a really weird, awkward situation that they're in where she can't really tell him the real reason why the Spider Society is there.
And that's why you need to have that emotional setup. And even though they had a whole other movie to set that up, this is like, it's just so, I just loved it. I loved everything about this movie.
How about Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, and he was drawn like a 90s Image comic.
Yeah. Do you know who did the voice for him?
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg, of course.
He's great.
Also, I can just tell you right now, also, when the guidance counselor was in the very beginning, before she even opened her mouth, I was like, that's Rachel Dratch.
Because it looked like Rachel Dratch.
Exactly like her. And then she opened her mouth. I'm like, thank you for
I know.
Rachel
Same.
Dratch.
Same. And then like my husband leaned over like midway through the scene. He goes, Rachel Dratch. And I was like, yeah, I knew when the character came on. Before she spoke.
Exactly. It's but finally, Miles follows Gwen, realizes that she's kind of lying to him and that she has to like go to this other universe to get the spot. He follows along. Long story short, he ends up in the Spider Society.
Part of why he's blamed for being a mistake is because his spider that bit him was from a different dimension. And so that dimension that the spider was from originally has no Spider-Man because nobody was there. It bit nobody from there. It bit Miles in a different reality.
And here is the question, which is because it bit him, they're saying you're an anomaly. You were never supposed to be Spider-Man. Who was supposed to be Spider-Man in that reality? And there is clues. I looked it up. There are clues showing when that spider disappears and gets sucked into the other dimension. Do you know who's in the room that spider was going to go and bite?
No.
It's the back of someone with dreadlocks. Very similar to one Miles Morales Prowler.
Oh, wow.
So it's not that no Miles Morales was supposed to become Spider-Man.
Wow.
It's that universe's Miles Morales was supposed to become Spider-Man.
And that Miles Morales shows up at the end.
At the very end, yes.
Miles of that reality.
Miles tries to get back home, so he's like, the thing reads him, and they're like, oh, we can see you have this spider power. We're sending you back to your reality. But it reads the spider power, the spider, so it sends him back to the spider reality.
To Earth 42.
So he ends up going there, and it looks like his dad is dead, but his uncle is alive. But his uncle is not the Prowler. Miles Morales is the Prowler. No!
What movie were you reminded of when it showed up to be continued at the end? With that kind of dark close up.
Was it like Avengers?
Something. It was Kill Bill for me.
Oh, Kill Bill. Yeah.
When they did that, like Miles Prowler reveal and like that whole speech. Like, and then just hit you with the to be continued. And like the gang getting together. I was like, come on, this feels so Kill Bill.
I know. And then we finally see Peter Porker, Spider-Man Noir.
So they're going to join us for Act 3. The ones from Act 1, Penny, Noir, like they're all back at the end. They had no lines because we didn't want to have to pay the actors.
Yeah, well, I think but they do show up. Well, all of them did have lines at some point, except for Peter Porker. And I think my theory is because John Mulaney was in rehab when they were probably doing the voice acting for this.
What did Nick Cage have anything? In fact, there was someone who I thought showed up as. I thought Nick Cage voiced something else. There was a moment where I heard something.
The cowboy Spider-Man kind of sounded like him.
Maybe the cowboy. Maybe that was it.
But let me tell you this.
Who was your?
I forgot. I knew it was. We've talked about it on this podcast that it was 2 parts, but I forgot. And so as the end of this movie was rolling around, I was like, how are they going to wrap this up? And then it was like, dun, dun, dun. I'm like, oh, this feels like the end. Wait, what's happening? And it's like, to be continued. I was like, Oh, right. There's going to be a second part. I really was like,
Damn.
wow, they're really going to do this really fast.
What was our mid-credit scene? Did we have one? Or did we just enjoy the animation?
I think the mid-credit scene was it was just some kind of shit. Now I need to look it up. It was just god damn it.
Well, one thing I want to point out is some of our live action cameos, which were a nice surprise. Like, we straight up got live footage of Toby, of what's his face, who played Uncle Ben in the Toby movies. I want to say,
there isn't one. There isn't a mid-credit
Charlie.
scene.
Okay, what was that guy's name? He won the Oscar for like Flowers for Algernon. Cliff Robertson. We saw Cliff Robertson's Uncle Ben. We saw Andrew at some point.
Oh yeah, we saw all. Yeah, I think we did not see Tom Holland.
We did not see Tom Holland, but we got a reference to him.
We saw Toby. We saw pretty much everybody else.
But we saw someone who kind of sort of was in a Tom Holland movie.
Are you talking about the Venom part? The Venom scene?
I'm talking about the Daniel Glover part.
Oh, right.
That was genius. So they had Daniel Glover show up as Aaron Davis, who he played in Spider-Man Homecoming, but as an Aaron Davis who then does become, like, they put Donald Glover in a Prowler costume, which was genius because he played the guy who is the Prowler in Homecoming. And then the whole reason he was in that was because of when, right before the Andrew movies were announced, everyone wanted it to be about Miles Morales starring Donald Glover. Yes. And that was a huge internet movement.
That was always a thing that they wanted it to be.
So it was like, it's like the act 3 of like Donald Glover's Spider-Man journey. Finally shows up as the Prowler.
Yes.
So good. But I got to say, my favorite Spider-Punk, Hobie Brown, like out of costume, in costume, every time he was animated, Daniel Kaluuya's voice, what that character represented and what that character did in the movie.
Yeah.
When his gates, when he rebelled against the Spider Society and his gates in his style started opening up, I was like, this, come on.
Yeah. It's great.
There was the Lego Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
There's
the Venom scene, the store clerk from the Venom movie.
Oh, the store clerk from Venom. Yes. Oh my God, that's who that was.
Oh, you didn't.
I remember in that moment. In that moment, I was like, I know who this is. I couldn't.
I didn't even see that movie, but that was the scene they always showed, so I recognized.
Yeah. Oh my God, so funny. Peter. How about Peter parked car?
Oh, I know.
The like sentient buggy.
This movie is fabulous.
It's so good, and it really is it's the best animation you've ever seen. My husband and I ate some edibles and like 45 minutes before we
fabulous.
And they kicked in like right at the beginning, and we just kept looking at each other with big smiles on our face, like, yeah.
Yeah,
this was a good choice.
Gorgeous. I love it because it's taking the idea of, a lot of times we have the way animation is now, they flatten it, the way they flatten it out and still give it like a 2D vibe. It actually expands the possibilities of what it can look like. So they're allowed to just have a poignant scene between Gwen Stacy and her dad. The background just totally flattens out and turns pink and purple, and it's gorgeous. You don't need to have it.
It was the best.
Yeah, it's great.
The best visual moment of the movie was a conversation between a father and a daughter. Yeah. It was hands down, with all the action in that movie, the best shots were in that scene. Incredible. The most thoughtful, intentional. Just like Guardians 3, it was intentional, it was thoughtful, it was creative down to like this ridiculous level of detail. Yeah. So good. You know what? I did my Spidey rankings in Letterboxd. I put it as number 1 because number 1 was Into. on my rankings. And so I'm sorry. This is better.
I think this is actually better than I mean, it's hard because the first one sets it up. You can't have the second movie without the first one, but I think this one exceeds, like it actually exceeds.
Just from a visual approach standpoint, I think this one exceeds, which is so wild.
Further. Yeah.
It just pushed everything further. It elevated the already heightened stuff that it did. So successful by not doing the same thing.
Should we talk about X-Men?
Yeah.
Let's hit the music.
I was reading X-Men comics in a cocktail bar. That much is true. Yeah.
All right, X-Men.
All right, now we've got some lesbian action.
We only got one X-Men comic.
Betsy Braddock, Captain
but
Britain.
Iron Man is showing up again.
Iron Man is showing up. He's in he's in overalls maybe? No, just a tank and some jeans. Classic. Betsy's like, you want to come fight a Sentinel-like robot? He's like, yes. Yes, I do. You look so pretty.
Yeah. He's like, damn it, I wish you weren't a lesbian because I would fuck you. Just like I fucked Emma.
And she's like, I'm bisexual.
Yeah. She's like, I like the dick. But usually I like the dick when the person is somewhat disfigured in some way.
That is true.
Who
Angel.
Angel? Phantom X.
Phantom X. Who is he disfigured?
Well, what's under that mask?
I think just a handsome man. Who knows? His power is misdirection. We'll never know.
Well, I guess technically one of the psychics from the MI6 under Pete Wisdom that was resurrected
from Strike.
She was dating him. She was fucking him. She fucked Sabretooth.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, in Exiles. When she was in Exiles, she was fucking the other world, like the good Sabretooth from Age of Apocalypse.
Well, now she fucking Rachel Summers, a.k.a. Ascani, which we love to see. Also, we love to see Miss Teenie Howard define Ascani a little further.
Yeah. They're the trackers of souls.
The trackers of souls, the librarians of the soul library, if you will. Great concept. Did we know that already?
No, I don't think so.
Was that Ascani was just like, we're weird, we're a cult, we see the future. What do you want?
We're beautiful, we're gorgeous, we look like Linda Evangelista, we could be a model.
We're giving soul librarian.
Did you stone those superhero tights? Ascani, you're beautiful. Your smile is beautiful.
Ascani, you're so pretty.
But one interesting thing with this is
One thing
is they're going to like a big event and she introduces Rachel as her girlfriend.
That's right, in front of cameras.
Yeah, she's just like, hey,
in front of the pop.
I'm eating pussy and you're going to have to deal with it. You're Captain Britain.
She's giving Janelle Monáe.
I love it.
She's like, listen, here's a video of me and Tessa Thompson is coming out of my vagina. What? We're dating.
Yeah. And the whole Avengers thing is they bring in the Avengers to kind of misdirect. She psychically misdirects the Fury to think that he's coming back for Captain Britain because he thought he killed him. She faked him out thinking that he killed him. So then he's like, oh, I didn't really kill him, so I'm going to go kill him now. And she fakes him out again thinking he's going to kill him, but it's really the Avengers.
And they fuck the thing up, you know?
Yeah, they thing up.
Just fuck it up.
And Jamie Braddock shows up with his reality warping powers and shoves the Fury into like a little pocket dimension. But it turns out the reason why they don't ask Jamie to do a bunch of stuff is
classic Jamie.
He double crosses them and brings Morgan's castle and lets it and re-enlarges it in the middle of England with Doom.
And now she has power. And now she has the power of Britain, and she's got Doom on her arm. And then they take, and they're like, fuck you. And they're like, fuck you, fuck with us, and we'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, and he's like, and
we'll fucking kill England.
Declare war on all of your asses.
So if your Avengers come back,
kill you.
It's your ass. Yeah.
And
she was like, well, fuck you.
And of course, Betsy's like, oh, you're such a piece of shit, Jamie. What the fuck, Jamie? And he's like, but I mean,
they brought him home. They brought him home and scolded him, the whole family, in a chair.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I know.
It's hilarious.
Like, oh my God, you're the worst, Jamie. You're the worst bigger brother.
And then Betsy's like, oh, remember when I was a spy? I'm going to go spy on stuff.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then, wait, so the very end, it turns out Brian Braddock just like, he wants to take it to that Fury.
But then he was in that pocket dimension. So how did
why is he in that pocket dimension? Why did Brian go in there?
So is that really him though? Because for two times the Fury saw him and it wasn't really him. Is this just another time that he's seeing something and it's not really him?
I don't know. Or did Jamie like somehow manipulate Brian into going in there?
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of time. If there was, there had to be some sort of time jump because literally he's like, hey, what's the plan? And literally the next scene is him inside going to battle the Fury, which I don't see how Betsy would be like, that's a good plan.
Yeah, it's weird.
So we'll have to see. And I think it's the last one. Last one.
Last one is the next one. Yeah. Last one is the next one. And next week, we've got a big week. We've got Bishop War College, I believe, rapping. Number 5, which may be last.
Yes.
We've got another Immortal X-Men. Ooh. Yes. Freudian slip.
Love it.
And something else big that we love. X-Men. We like them. Just the X-Men book. And then X-Men Mutant First Strike, one of our like prelude to the fall books. Who the hell knows? They're wearing white. They're in white ambulance costumes. Nothing makes sense.
Wait, is it Mutant First Strike? Does this mean the mutants are striking first?
No, it's kind of weird. They become like this rescue and operations team led by Bishop, but it's all the heavy hitters. It's like Jean. All right.
Well, I'm going to
describe the cover.
So is this where they're going to form this thing to help the world, and in the end, Orcus is
they're going to drop some kind of ball.
Well, I don't think necessarily even they drop a ball, but Orcus is totally playing their asses, and Orcus is going to turn it around and make them look like the bad guys.
Absolutely.
I bet you. Do you think maybe it is? They're going to do. I was just wondering if because we all know that they can. At any time, just have a sound wave go out, and anyone that's taken the mutant medicines will all just commit suicide. So I'm thinking I'm wondering if that's going to happen at like the Hellfire Gala, or if that's the first strike. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But the team is really something. Led by Bishop. We've got Iceman, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, Monet, Angel, Tempo, and wait for it, Triage.
Okay.
And they're wearing ambulance EMT outfits.
Yeah. Triage makes sense, I guess, since
Triage makes sense. Tempo.
Need to do ambulance stuff. Tempo. I'm done with Tempo. Monet. I feel like why are they trying to make Monet happen?
Oh my God. I think we just lost all of our listeners. I heard it. I heard it happen.
People really
I heard
love
3
Monet?
clicks. People love Monet.
Oh, really? It's just me? Oh, okay. I really loved her in Peter David's X Factor. But ever since X Corp and now the current version of her, I don't think they've figured out what she's about. It's not interesting to me.
Preach, girl.
Yeah, the whole penance thing.
Yeah.
They're not playing because her whole thing is she has like a perfectionist thing. And then that combined with how she was like, is she still merged with her other? I'm still confused. They haven't really gone into her full history. So it's hard for me to know what the hell her deal is of like, what's going on with her, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever.
And she hides behind a facade of bitchiness, if I may.
I mean, who doesn't?
I mean, we see it because we are it.
All right. I think we need to end this by just talking about, because it is the month of Pride, so we need to talk about just something gay really quick.
Okay.
I think we need to address Drag Race.
Okay, so I haven't watched it.
You haven't watched it?
I have been because of this cousin's wedding. So I do believe I know the headline. So hit me.
I don't want to give you away. It's a huge spoiler.
Is it? Okay, I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil what I know.
Okay, spoil what you know.
What I've heard, what I saw on Twitter by accident.
Okay.
Is it that Heidi quits?
Yes.
Oh my God. Why? Because they aren't seeing her?
No,
or did something happen?
It's a huge fight breaks out.
Because she said she had tea that would burn the whole goddamn thing down,
and
right?
And the tea was then told. And then
oh God.
And then people tried to lie and say the tea was not told and that it
Spill
wasn't true.
The tea.
Okay. First, there's a snatch game. James Mansfield does Jennifer Coolidge amazingly hilarious. Jimbo does Shirley Temple that's up par with Jinx Monsoon's.
I saw just a clip of tap dancing.
It's hilarious. Alexis Michelle does a very good B. Arthur. And they were kind of the top three. Heidi was Blackbeard the Pirate, and she was funny, but she started doing most of her jokes just making fun of how unfunny Kahana Montrese is.
I hate that.
And Kahana Montrese was doing Coco Montrese. So she was just making jokes about how like, oh, that joke didn't land. She's like, here's a treasure map. Find a joke, like Coco. And they were funny, but it was definitely not
at the expense. It was punching down.
Because that's the thing. If you want to volley back and forth, you can't volley by saying you're not funny. That joke was bad. Like you have to give them some. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to find the flaw with the joke.
So basically, Kahana was like, "Hey, that really upset me that you did that. That really pissed me off. Like you weren't." And she's like, "Well, I thought we were volleying." She's like, "You weren't volleying. You were just like kicking me while I was down. Like every time I tried to make a joke, you just made fun of me." And so Heidi was very upset, being like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." And so she's in the middle of like trying to like calm Kahana down. And then Candy Muse is like, but while we're at it, I also heard that Jimbo said that you said I'd vote out Jimbo, even though we were like supposed to be an alliance. And then Heidi just turns and is like, well, you did say that. So, and then he's like, well, I didn't say that. That's a lie. And then she turns to Alexis Michelle and she's like, Alexis, you were there when it happened. So he said that, right? And then it cuts to Alexis. Alexis is like, I don't want to be in the middle of this. And fucking Alexis goes, well, yeah, you did say it. And then Candy blows up at Alexis like, oh, I did say it. So I said I'm gonna. She's like, well, I guess it's not exactly. I don't know. And then backtracks. And then Heidi looks at Alexis like, are you fucking kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, you're not a real sister. Like you did this and blah, 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 blah. And then Jimbo was like, well, she was being loyal to me. And then Heidi just was like, this is all fucked up. I did not come here for people to just flat out lie and stab people behind the backs. I was just here to have fun. I'm out of here. And I talked to some people because I do work at Drag Race. And I was like, was there other tea going on? And they were like, no. It was
just that face value.
She really felt betrayed. Like everybody's worked everything out. So nobody's angry with each other now because it's like a year has passed. But at the time, she just was like, nope, I did not come here to, like, she just basically, it just suddenly seemed like, oh, Heidi's the villain. And she's like, nope, I'm not here for that edit. I'm just leaving.
Oh my God.
And when she said she was going to leave, they all like went and tried to beg her to stay. And then Alexis started crying. And then Candy was like, I didn't mean it for it to be like that. And then everyone now is coming after Candy being like, well,
yeah,
if you really
she opened her mouth.
You should have fucking admitted that you lied. Because everybody knows Candy did say that. Like she did fucking say that. Nobody believes Candy. And so now they're all coming after Candy. And so people are like, everybody stop trying to like, Heidi's like, please don't like come for everyone. Cause you know, these Drag Race fans love to leave death threats.
After the fact, they go crazy.
But they love to give death threats.
Oh, I know.
Like, fuck you, Alexis Michelle. I hope
Baby
you fucking get murdered. And you're just like, oh, I'm going to fucking murder you. You're like, how about we don't murder anyone?
What the fuck?
Because it's
especially
just a TV
now.
show. Yeah.
With everything happening on drag.
Yeah, exactly. How about we
Can
just
the
like,
fans not
yeah,
give them death threats
you're
too?
like, hey, there's fucking Nazis that want to murder me. How about, I mean, it's just like, Alexis Michelle was murdered. Was it a Nazi or a fan? Like, I don't, like, that shouldn't be how that works.
It was actually a fan that dabbled in Nazism.
Anyway, it was pretty dramatic, guys. It's probably one of the juiciest things that happened in a long time.
I can't wait to watch.
But I'm very sad because Heidi was one of my favorites. So I
know.
did not want to see her go.
I did feel bad when she's like, I just feel like they're not seeing me. And I was like, she just really, she did above average across the board, but it just wasn't quite.
I did feel she deserved to be in the top for her ball look, that strawberry outfit that she did.
Yeah, me too. My God.
And her milkman. I felt she deserved to be in the top.
Yes, I did too.
But what are you going to do?
What are you going to
It's very
do? Life
subjective.
is all how you react to it.
There's
you
other
know, you
people
can't
getting,
control the rest.
There's people getting mad where they're like, Jimbo, they're rigging it for Jimbo. And I'm like, but Jimbo is clearly doing,
Jimbo's just doing the best.
doing very
in
well.
every-
And then they're like cutting James Manfield, they're cutting him slack. And I'm like, no, I think he's also doing pretty well. And when he does bad, they call him out on it. I don't know. I just, I feel it's also just very subjective. And I think people watch it with their favorites in mind. So as soon as their favorite, they doesn't get what they want, they just scream riggery.
Yeah, they're basically saying like, why don't you agree with me?
Yeah.
I think they're the best. You should too.
Anyway,
There's a lot of that.
a lot of drama. But let's keep
Lot
the
of
drama.
that.
Let's keep the drama joyous because it's Pride, and this is a different Pride, everybody. This is the first Pride where we actually, it used to be Pride where like, oh my God, corporations, leave us alone. You're just like, you're not real allies. And then this year we were like, oh, it was true because they're like, we don't want to piss off the right wing, so we're all going to stop being allies. And then we're like,
take the rainbows down and Target for the 10 foot by 10 foot, 6 foot by 6 foot display that we have.
Yeah. So we're in actual trouble this year. So
I love that the corporations finally showed their true fucking colors instead of the rainbow colors. And I'm glad that like it just feels like all the snip, like all the connections to corporate American pride are like unraveling, which I am here for.
Yeah. But
Fuck
I don't.
off.
But if it completely unravels, I don't want them to be like, "Oh, okay, well,
No, that's
then,
bad.
Then we can just fully support these right wing people that they say that we all shouldn't exist." Because that's the thing, people. This is comic book queers. We're here talking about comics, and but there is people being like, "Oh, did you hear? There's a groomer podcast. It's talking about X-Men, but it's by pedophiles. Like we are not pedophiles. So fucking stop it."
We fucking hate kids, actually.
Yeah. I was about to say fuck those kids, but no, we don't want to fuck those kids because we don't give a shit about kids.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you know, whatever the spin machine comes up with, that's what people will buy.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to end with this. People like just fucking lighten up, stop attacking each other because there's actual real enemies that want to kill us.
Call your gay cousin.
But here's the thing. We do need to recruit. And I know they're like, oh, gays recruit. We do need to recruit. We need more gays on our side. And there's one surefire way to make somebody gay.
How?
You tell them to read a comic. Because
Why?
if you read comics, that makes you queer. Bye.
Bye.